The wind howled through the empty alley behind St. Andrew's Memorial Hospital, carrying whispers of exhaustion, regret, and the faint echo of sirens far in the distance. Eden Miles adjusted her worn-out backpack and pulled her jacket tighter around her shoulders. The storm had come without warning, soaked the streets, filled the gutters, and turned the hospital's back parking lot into a glossy reflection of harsh fluorescent lights. Her shoes, soaked through, squelched with every step. She didn't care. Her mind was still inside, still with the elderly woman who'd coded in room 7, whose bony fingers Eden had held until the heart monitor flatlined. Still with the teenage mother who screamed for a painkiller they weren't allowed to give. Still with the young boy who came in blue and coughing, whose mother blamed herself for the mold in their apartment. Eden had nothing left in her, nothing but the ache in her back and a cold chicken sandwich in her bag. Her bus wouldn't arrive for another 30 minutes, and the metal folding chair in her trunk was all she had to rest on. That was her routine. Work. Chair. Bus. Sleep. Repeat. Alone. Always alone. She never noticed the trio approach. They looked like shadows at first, hoodies pulled low, shoulders hunched against the rain. Just kids. Teenagers. She might have offered them a sandwich if she weren't so tired. She never even got the chance. The first one threw a bottle. It missed. Shattered behind her. "Hey, nurse," one of them slurred, the alcohol obvious in his voice. "Nice shoes. Hope they help when you're running for your life." She turned too late. A shove from behind knocked her straight into the pavement. Her palms scraped the gravel, her wrist twisting beneath her. Her chin bounced off the wet asphalt with a sickening thud. Dazed, she tried to push herself up, but a boot slammed down on her lower back. Pain exploded through her ribs. One of the boys laughed. Another kicked her folding chair, sent it crashing into her shin. The metal cracked. One leg snapped clean off, rusted from age and years of use. "Stupid charity case," one of them spat. "What kind of nurse waits in the rain for the bus?" Pathetic. They didn't take her wallet. They didn't even try to rob her. They were just there to humiliate. To hurt. And when they'd had enough, when her body trembled in pain and her jacket was soaked in blood and filth, they left. Their silhouettes vanished into the night, laughing like jackals, leaving only echoes behind. Eden laid still. The rain fell harder. Her chest burned, her eyes stung, and her pulse pounded in her ears. But it wasn't just the physical pain that left her gasping, it was the weight of powerlessness. The cruelty. The way life had pushed and pushed until she finally broke. Because she had been kind her whole life. Had believed, maybe foolishly, that kindness mattered. That if she gave everything, maybe the world would give a little back. It hadn't. She reached out, fingers closing around the broken chair leg. The jagged metal bit into her hand, but she didn't let go. And then, slowly, she rose. One knee. Then the other. Blood dripped from her lip. Her wrist dangled uselessly. But her back was straight. Her grip on the broken leg tight. Her eyes full of something they hadn't held before, steel. She didn't scream. Didn't cry. Just walked to the bus stop and sat, her broken chair beside her, like a fallen soldier's weapon. The next morning, she returned to work. No one asked about the bruises. No one noticed the limp. But something inside Eden had changed forever. The hospital never slept. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The intercom buzzed every few minutes with codes and names. People shuffled in and out, limping, bleeding, screaming, holding on to hope by a single, fraying thread. For Eden Miles, the ER was more than a workplace. It was a battlefield of emotion, a place where pain and compassion collided with raw honesty. She had walked through those automatic doors hundreds of times, but today, after the attack, her steps felt heavier, different. She wore long sleeves to hide the bruises. Taped up her wrist and told no one. The only thing she couldn't hide was the limp, but she blamed it on a fall. No one asked further. The ER was too busy for personal stories. Yet Eden carried hers like a shadow. Each time she heard laughter from a group of teens in the waiting room, her body tensed. Each time someone walked behind her too quickly, she flinched. Still, she moved forward. Her care never wavered. She held hands, whispered calm, adjusted pillows for the elderly, and wiped tears from the frightened. Her pain didn't make her bitter. If anything, it made her more tender, more aware that hurt people often hurt others, and that healing didn't start with revenge. It started with choice. 2 weeks passed before she saw him again. It was 2:17 a.m. when the trauma doors burst open and a gurney flew through the hallway. Nurses surrounded the boy on the stretcher, 17 years old, pale as paper, eyes half closed. They shouted vitals, administered fluids, checked for head trauma. Blood trickled from his scalp. He'd fallen down a flight of stairs after drinking too much at a party. Eden stood frozen when she recognized him. Landon. The boy who had thrown the can at her. The one who laughed while she lay face down in the rain. She could have walked away. Another nurse would have taken over. But she didn't. Her body moved on instinct, memory fading beneath duty. She stepped in, took the chart, and did what she'd done for every patient in her care. She gave him everything she had. Through the night, Eden monitored him. Cleaned his wound. Held a cold compress to his forehead. When he stirred and opened his eyes, groggy and confused, their eyes met. He blinked. Recognition slowly settled in. Guilt overtook his face. He whispered. Eden said nothing. Just gave him water. Adjusted his blanket. Kept going. The next day, she found a note tucked under the supply tray. His handwriting was shaky. His words unsure. But they hit her harder than the pavement ever had. I didn't know how broken I was until I saw what I did to you. I didn't think about people like you before. Not really. But that night it changed me. You didn't call the police. You didn't ruin me. You saved me. And you're still saving me. I'm sorry. I want to be better. I don't want to be who I was. Eden didn't cry easily. But that day, she stepped into the janitor's closet and wept silently into her sleeve. A week later, she saw Landon again, this time not on a stretcher, but pushing one. He had signed up as a volunteer. Rolled wheelchairs, mopped the floors. He didn't wear headphones or joke around. He kept his head down. Did the work. Said good morning to every nurse. Eden watched from afar, unsure what to believe. People didn't change that easily. Especially not boys like him. But then, something incredible happened. Another nurse was struggling to lift an elderly man into a chair. Landon rushed over, gentle, respectful, steady. Then, in the break room, Eden found a tray of cookies with a note, for the ones who save lives and never get thanks. Eden smiled quietly to herself. Landon came back the next week. Then the next. And with him, 2 of his old friends. They cleaned 4 stands. Learned to file paperwork. Carried flowers to patients. Something was shifting. The hospital, once only full of pain and fear, was now growing a seed of redemption in its halls. By the 3rd month, even the hardest nurses began softening. The teens weren't perfect, but they showed up. Landon apologized again, this time face to face. His voice broke. He didn't make excuses. Just told her about his mom, a nurse who died in a car crash while driving home from her shift. Told her about his guilt. His aimlessness. The drinking. The anger. The void. Eden just nodded. I forgive you, she said. But don't waste it. He didn't. That winter, Eden was nominated for a Compassion Award by the hospital board. She didn't even know about it until her name was called at the holiday banquet. She walked to the stage, stunned, the applause echoing in her chest like thunder. Her heart swelled when she looked out at the audience, nurses, doctors, janitors, and in the back row, the former bullies who once knocked her down, now standing in her honor. And in her hand, tucked into her pocket, was the broken